Hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Let's Play Dragon Age Origins, because I can clearly talk so well. Anyway, are they dirty limericks?
Mostly they involve slaughtering pigeons in creative and invasive manners. I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do?
Other than Caradin, they didn't speak.
And now there shall be no more. I suppose it is for the best. I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing.
I agree. Being a golem would be handy.
Imagine the benefits. No need to eat or sleep or perform other functions. Walk underwater, crush the heads of every opponent. The possibilities are limitless. Barring the occasional 30 years or so of paralysis, there's little to compare. Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting.
Why were you focusing so much on my tongue? That's actually kind of alarming, Shale. I don't like that kind of focus on my tongue. And she's at 51 approval. That's good. Do you have another save? I mean, anything else to say?
It speaks.
I have some questions.
It doesn't have better things to do.
No. Oh! I have lots of questions. Are those crystals in your skin?
I like to think of them as accessories.
But what do they do?
I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation.
It's a Dwarven thing, then.
So I would assume. My former master enjoyed poking around the ruins of the deep roads after all, and bartering with others who did. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will.
That's a bad idea. But they can do other things, too.
Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me.
As in, it would show up in the item's description. Would you be willing to have more added?
Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more.
I'm told you killed your former master.
Oh, how interesting. Certainly I remember having a master. My memories of what happened to him are vague.
Vague? But not non-existent.
Clever and true. Oh, very well. Let me see what I can recall. My former master enjoyed experimenting upon me. I remember that much. There was tinkering with spells and then the crystals. He was very eager to alter my function, I think.
Alter you? Why? You're fine as you are.
Flattery, and obvious flattery too. I feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Uh-oh, that's a...
He possessed my control rod, and back then, it would have prevented me from doing anything he did not command me to, no matter how I might have wished to. So what happened? I am unsure. He was experimenting, and then... nothing.
So he hit the kill me button by accident?
Oh, ho, ho. It does like to laugh, does it? But who knows? I may have such a thing. And then he was gone. I was standing where I was, in the village, and I could no longer move. The villagers came, poked and prodded me in fear, and then realized they could neither move me nor destroy me. So they simply left me. And in time I forgot I hadn't stood there all along.
That must have been terrible. I'm sorry.
In fact, at first I found it more of a relief. For so many years I'd had to leap to that little toadstool's every command. Get this, pick up that, put it down, pick it up again. The gall! At first I'd hoped he'd simply decided to leave me there paralyzed, an acceptable trade-off. After years passed, I simply stopped caring.
Maybe it has something to do with your crystals.
Possibly. Except that he was not experimenting with the crystals at the time, I think. But my memory is not good. It may be correct. Whatever the mage did seemed to render the control rod useless, for which I should be thankful, yes? And provided it doesn't decide to copy his experiments, not that I would allow it, it is nothing to fear from me. Much.
Sounds good to me.
The things that it fights, and it fights things often, that is a different story. Let us get back to the walking and the fighting. My stone is beginning to itch again.
Very well. She approves plus 12. Very nice. 63. So yeah, there's a lot of talking involved with each of the characters. But I know I've said it several times before. Getting to talk with the characters, getting to know them, getting to know all about them is actually very... it adds a lot to the game, and it adds more emotional impact to the end of the game. I have some questions.
It doesn't have better things to do.
No, I don't. How did you end up in Honleith? How did you end up in Honleith? Do you remember?
Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the Mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it.
But why were you out in front of the tower?
That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag.
His wife?
I was once larger, 10 feet tall. Then the loathsome hag complained that I couldn't fit through the doors. So the mage had me shrunk down. Can it believe it? And she still wanted me out.
Ugh. How does someone shrink a golem?
With a chisel. And a lot of nerve.
I love that line. I would have thought you'd enjoy scaring humans.
I'd have happily stomped them all into paste. And then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too. In fact, after 30 years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, it took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself. Ugh.
I'm out of time for this installment of Let's Play Dragon Age Origins, but I hope to see you on the next installment where I continue this conversation and more. Hope to see you then.